Coming up on the World Sailing Show, the Allianz Sailing World Championships take centre stage in The Hague. The America's Cup gets ready for its first event. And the multi-hulls lead out the Fastnet. More than 5 years on from Aarhus, the Allianz Sailing World Championships returned with competitors from 81 countries descending on The Hague for 10 days of racing that would crown world champions and help shape the field for the Paris 2024 Olympics.
This event is the pinnacle of our sport. We've got 1,200 athletes from all over the world. We've got the 10 Olympic classes here. The fight on the water is going to be immense. The competition is as strong as it gets.
The event was boosted this year by World Sailing's Emerging Nations programme, increasing the number of sailors competing, and the addition of the Parasailing Worlds, which were taking place in tandem for the very first time.
We've been talking and waiting for this moment for a long time, and it's finally here in the Netherlands. And we're very excited. It's just starting the event. You know, the world is here, and I love representing my country.
While Lake Brassemermeer was the venue for the parasailers, the Olympic classes will be racing on 8 courses off the shores of Scheveningen.
This is just such a cool event because you have all of the sailing classes at one venue and it becomes like this whole festival. So I think like the atmosphere is so cool, and we only get it once every 4 years or so. So I'm just really looking forward to enjoying all of it and just like having fun at this awesome venue.
Since the Tokyo Games, there'd been a shake-up in the Olympic lineup with new foiling classes, including the introduction of Formula Kite and the replacement of the RSX windsurfers with IQ foils.
It's a really fast development, and I think we certainly, as the British, we all tried to work together to kind of figure it out as fast as we could. I mean, there is quite a tight-knit community of IQ foilers from around the world, and it's always a pleasure to come here and meet everyone from their different parts of the world, and that's a really special part of the sport.
With the Netherlands hosting the regatta, the reigning 49er world champions were poster boys for the event. But even on home waters, the duo were keeping their goals simple.
An important event for sure, and we're just going to go ahead and do our best, and hopefully end up qualifying the country.
While the skiff classes, the Ilkers and the NACRA 17 Cats were unchanged for the Olympic cycle, the 470s had followed the NACRAs to become a mixed class.
It's just really exciting. I get to sail with Connor as my crew. It's also exciting for the fleet. It's changed the dynamics up a little bit. It's interesting to see which combos of male helm and female helm works better, and yeah, it's good.
With world titles and Olympic berths at stake, The Hague's variable weather conditions and strong currents combined to ensure an intriguing 10 days of racing.
I think The Hague will bring everything and kind of throw everything at us, as always, at a World Championships. So you just kind of be a consistent all-around sailor and try to keep consistent throughout the whole race.
We'll be back in The Hague later to find out who came out on top in the para events and the 10 Olympic classes. It's been a busy few months for the world's oldest international sporting trophy. Defending champions New Zealand and the challenger teams have arrived in Barcelona to acclimatise to the sailing waters and prepare for the first preliminary regatta of the 37th America's Cup.
Our main goals are to understand the venue, learn a lot about the conditions here, make sure we sail right through October when the Cup's going to be, and learn as much as we possibly can, and then obviously developing the boat while we're here as well.
The first of 3 preliminary regattas gets underway in Villanova, 45 kilometres along the coast from Barcelona, on September the 14th. Before the AC-75s get to meet on the water, the first 2 events will be contested in the strict one-design AC-40s, launched last year and raced by a crew of 4.
The AC-40 is such a cool little boat to sail, and I know most people think 40-foot boat is not that small, but in comparison to the 75s, it's like a little toy. It's nimble, it's light, it requires a high level of concentration to sail.
Feels like you're almost driving or trimming a go-kart. That means it's pretty interesting around the starts, like how how hard you can throw the boat around in the manoeuvres, you know, the G-forces where it's moving around. Not quite the same top speed, but you're not miles away.
The 40's actually providing the stepping stone for the next America's Cup sailors, and whether you're tall or short or heavier or lighter, if you can sail an AC40 really well, you for sure could sail a 75 well.
Going into Villanova is going to be pretty exciting. That one design element, all down to sailors' skill. So really it comes down to who's put the most time into understanding these boats. It's going to be fascinating to see which team comes out on top.
In preparation for Villanova, Team New Zealand, Ineos Britannia, American Magic and Luna Rossa ventured out onto the America's Cup race area in Barcelona for a few days of practice in the AC40s to test the race management and broadcast systems. After racing in pairs, the 4 boats lined up together for a couple of fleet races. New Zealand dominating the first one before finishing last in the second as the breeze disappeared.
The first start we had, we thought was really nice conditions. It was probably 9 knots or something like that. You could kind of manoeuvre anywhere, and we did a nice job putting the boat in a good spot. And then the second one we actually ended up almost coming off the foil, and we were right on the back foot the whole way.
The hardware is exactly the same as the others, and so it really just comes down to the teams using the controls, you know, cant, ride height, the trim of the boat, so obviously sails technique. So there's a lot of little things there, and I think the whole fleet's just learning.
I think what's great to see is different styles and the different techniques that all the teams race with, and yet everybody gets a similar performance out of the boats.
It was just great to line up against another boat. It always gets the competitive juices flowing a bit, and I think it's going to be incredible to see 6 of these boats lined up in some fleet racing in the not too distant future.
Back at the Allianz World Championships in The Hague, expectations were riding high for home sailors in the skiff and dinghy classes. Marit Bouwmeester was fresh off winning the ILCA 6 competition at July's Olympic test event in Marseille, a feat repeated by the Dutch pairs in the 49er and FX classes, both of whom are also looking to make it a hat-trick of world titles at the championships.
It doesn't really add pressure. We all know it's a sailing race, and it starts from 0 points for everyone in the beginning, so everyone is on equal points, and it doesn't matter by how big of a margin you won the last event.
Yeah, it's great that we have this Worlds on home water, so we'll be good. I'm going to do the best I can, and we'll see where that brings us.
Odile van Arnholt and Annette Duet's defence of their 49er FX world title was nearly over before it began. Duet suffering a serious knee injury just over a week before the start of competition.
We were training over here last week, but it was like 20-25 knots, and like the seas can get quite rough. And during capsize, I tried to climb over the boat, but I fell on the centerboard, and then I injured my knee. It looked like I wasn't able to sail the Worlds at all. So that we are actually here and out racing, it's already a really big step for us.
Although they made it to the start line, the Dutch world champions struggled in the early rounds, with Sweden's Vilma Bobeck and Rebecca Netzler setting the pace. Van Arnholt and Duets finally notched up 3 fleet bullets to claim the silver medal against all the odds. But it was the Swedes who ended up winning 7 of the 15 heats to claim 49er FX gold with a race to spare.
We've had a dream week. We looked at our season last year and realized pretty quickly that we lost a bit of points in the starts. So since then we've been working a lot on our starting, and this week it's all just been working out for us. We've been doing good starts, and then our boat speed has been really good.
Disappointment for the home team in the FX competition turned to jubilation in the 49er class. Bart Lambrix and Floris van der Werken had found themselves locked in a week-long battle with Spain's Diego Botin and Florian Trittel. The Dutch went into the final day of fleet racing in second place, but a black flag for the Spanish in race 14 effectively ended their chances of claiming gold. A third in the final fleet race was enough to secure the Dutch pair their 3rd consecutive world title. The Swiss edging out the Spanish in the medal race to claim silver.
We're super happy. We're sailing one of the best days in our sailing career at the right moment, and today was definitely the right moment to have one of your best days. And so that's super nice.
Despite a close week-long battle, Australia's Matt Wern got the better of Britain's Mickey Beckett to claim gold in the ILKA 7 class, having herded the Brit out of contention in the final race before the medal race. But it was the ILKA 6s that provided one of the most thrilling finishes of the championship. Going into the double points medal race, Switzerland's Maud Jaye was lying in first ahead of defending champion Anne-Marie Rindom. 3 other sailors, including Marit Baumeister, were also still in contention for gold. But a bumpy course and penalties for Jaye and Rindom saw them slipping back to silver and bronze respectively, which opened the door for Hungary's Maria Erdi.
I believe that I could win a world championship one day, and a lot of people have told me that I have the ability to do so, but to actually do it is an incredible feeling.
The mixed 470 class was possibly one of the most open at the championships. The 3 big regattas of 2023 having been won by the Japanese, German and Spanish teams. It was the Japanese pairing of Keiju Okada and Miho Yoshioka who got off to the best start in The Hague, winning 2 of the first 3 fleet races. They continued sailing consistently mid-regatta, while the rest of the field battled it out for the other positions, eventually wrapping up the title before the medal race. Not that the finale didn't provide one final twist to the competition, as teammates Tetsuya Isazaki and Yuri Seiki sailed a stunner of a race to jump 3 places and claim bronze. It's Spain's Jordi Chamar and Nora Cabo holding on to silver.
We had a good time to World Championship and this week.
While the Allianz Sailing World Championships were in full flight off the coast of The Hague, with all 10 Olympic classes competing, just a short journey inland on Lake Brassemermeer, the elite parasailers were also racing for world titles. There were 4 categories, with a single-handed 2.4 class, the men's and women's Hansa 303s, and the double-handed RS Venture Connect competition, in which one of the oldest sailors was competing.
I love getting out of my wheelchair and allowing Mother Nature and myself to maneuver the boat and to go as fast as I can. And I'm 60 years old now, and I'm still doing it, and I can do it for a long time. So sailing allows an athlete in the para world to sail for a very long time, and that's another thing that I love about it.
The early leaders in the class were French duo Ange Margaron and Olivier Ducrieux, unbeatable on day 1.
We are so happy because win the 2 first races is fabulous for us. But it's just the beginning of the regatta, so we have to confirm tomorrow.
The pair would go on to win 7 of the first 9 races, allowing them to secure their gold medals with 1 still to sail. In the 2.4-metre single-hander, 9 times world champion Heiko Kroger, the 57-year-old former Paralympic champion from Germany, was equally dominant. He also scored a magnificent 7 bullets to take a 10th world title.
Well, I think we will celebrate a bit in the clubhouse and maybe afterwards as well. So maybe it's gonna be a long night for me.
In the men's Hansa 303, Piotr Kichoki was also enjoying his sailing and had a strong start to the week.
I'm very, very happy. This first day, first place, 2 places, it's very, very happy.
Kichoki got stronger as the week progressed. A sweep of victories in races 6 to 10 saw off the challenge of Japan's Takumi Niwa, who claimed silver. The experienced Jens Kroker of Germany fell out of the medal positions, but his championing of parasailing remained undiminished.
For me, it's the combination of being sometimes a team effort, then the nature that you need to cope with, and the techniques of the boat. And if you manage that, and that's why I believe sailing is so brilliant, you gain some self-courage and some self-confidence for yourself. And if you have a disability, you know with that you can also survive in life. You can do things, you can achieve things. And that's, I think, the big favor of sailing.
The women's Hansa 303s turned out to be the closest of all the classes, as US sailor Betsy Allison and Poland's Olga Górnas-Grützian swapped the lead all week. However, the American used all her match racing experience to get a point ahead of her rival going into the final race.
So going into this, I think going into tomorrow, it's really Olga and I. I just look forward to tomorrow going out, having a good race and paying attention to where she is. And honestly, I don't think I'm going to match race her at the start. I'm just going to sail as best I can. We'll see.
On the final day, Alison sailed fast to secure the gold medal just months after her return to sailing following an operation to remove a cancerous tumour.
And I'm almost in tears now. Having the ability to represent your nation on this kind of stage is really important. And doing so with a disability is, it makes me really proud. Whether it's young kids behind me, men, women, that we all learn that despite our challenges, we can still rise to the top.
Despite coming up just short, Olga Gorna-Skrudzian's silver medal combined with Kicioki's earlier gold did mean that Poland took the nation's bowl for the Para-Worlds.
This regatta, it's super wind, super weather, everything is super. It's it's super.
The Rolex Fastnet race celebrated its 50th edition with a record fleet of 420 yachts taking part in the 695 nautical mile race from Cowes on the Isle of Wight to Cherbourg, France, via the famous Rock of Ireland that gives the event its name.
It's a success for anyone to get to the start line, and even bigger success to get to the finish. And I think it's been a great event, and Rolex's support and Royal Ocean Racing Club, we really appreciate the whole team behind it.
The biennial race got underway in challenging conditions, with the multi-hulls leading the way. They included the likes of Banque Populaire, Les Artigues and Viabris. Starting 30 minutes behind them was the IRC fleet, but by the time they reached the Hearst Lighthouse, Brian Earhart's Lucy had caught up with the lead Imokas, which had set off half an hour earlier. The opening 12 hours of the race proved to be particularly bruising, with 40-knot winds and rough seas leading to numerous retirements or crews switching from racing to survival mode. The multi-hulls coped with the conditions better than their rivals and continued to set the pace. Les Artigues rounding the Fastnet Rock first, with Banque Populaire in hot pursuit. But the Ultim 32 couldn't close the gap, leaving Francois Gabard to steer his 105-foot trimaran into Cherbourg Harbour to take line honours in a record-breaking time of 1 day, 8 hours, 38 minutes and 27 seconds. The 420-strong fleet also included the likes of Wind Whisper and Team Jojo, fresh from competing in the ocean race. The two VO65s were in contention for the overall victory, but neither could match the 52-foot Caro, who reached France first to claim the Fastnet Challenge Cup on corrected time.
I'm very happy, still overwhelmed, I think it needs a bit of time to settle in, but no, I'm super proud of the guys and the boat, and yeah, I'm very happy. Winning the 50th Fastnet is something I will always remember, yeah, and be super proud of the guys and the boat.
Winners! Back in the Netherlands, the foiling classes had promised to provide some of the fastest and most dramatic action at the Allianz Worlds, with two new formats and the return of a championship favourite.
It is our goal regatta of the year. We did all the preparation to focus on this objective.
Of all the defending champions in The Hague, Ruggero Tita and Caterina Banti had yet to produce the form that had helped them win Rolex Sailor of the Year awards in 2022. But the NACRA World Champions and Olympic gold medalists had saved their best for when it really mattered, winning 8 of the first 9 fleet races. Going into the double points medal race, that left them with a healthy lead. Britain's John Gimson and Anna Burnett still had an outside chance of gold, but the Italians showed why they had dominated the class since 2017, taking their 11th bullet of the week to make it a hat-trick of world titles.
Our third world title, for sure we are really happy about that. In the past races we did this year, we were not as competitive as we were here.
We knew that we were faster, and then in some conditions we did all we had to do, so we just go out sailing and enjoy and do our best.
In the women's Formula Kite, France's Lauriane Nolot won 10 of 16 races in qualifying to finish top of the standings and progress straight to the final series. Victory in the first race there meant she won gold, ahead of the British duo of Ellie Aldridge and Lily Young, who took silver and bronze.
I think I was more scared of the conditions, like before we started. The wind was starting to drop, and I was like, oh my god, it's going to be super light for the 15. Finally, I was like, I'm not going to change my plan. I have my plan in my head, and I'm just going to follow it, and it's what I've done, and yeah, it works.
In the men's event, all eyes were on 16-year-old Max Mader of Singapore. But it was defending champion Tony Vodisek who topped qualifying and entered the final with 2 victories to his name, needing just one more to take gold. However, Mader took the opening race before Axel Mazello won the second. The 4 finalists headed out onto the water once again, but Mader proved too good for his opponents.
Max Mader reaching fast, reaching to the finish line. It's just ahead. Valentin Bontis trying to find a way through, but it's not going to happen at this point. And Valentin Bontis pushing so hard that he loses the stability, the speed goes as well. He knows it's over. Max Mader can ease up. He can celebrate. The World Championship title is his.
We had, from start to finish, drama in that race. It was tough racing. Mad respect to the competitors that I was racing with.
The IQ foil windsurfer was also making its debut at the World Championships and was also using a knockout format to decide the medals. In the women's competition, Britain's Emma Wilson topped qualifying to progress straight to the final. Following the knockout heats, she was joined there by Israel's Shahar Tibi and Katie Spitchikov. And it was Tibi who raced home to gold, with her teammate coming in behind to claim silver.
The semis and the final was, for me, was quite the same, you know. Good start, good speed, pushing all the way to the finish, and I'm very happy from this day and for all the week.
The men's event saw Nicolo Renner topping qualifying to earn a place in the final. Joining him there was home favourite Luc van Opsieland and 2022 world champion Sebastian Cordel. But it was Opsieland who got the strongest start and made his speed count to come home first, maintain the Dutch domination of windsurfing at the Worlds, and ensuring the Netherlands finishing top of the medal table for the 2nd championships in a row.
Had so many attempts at this, and to finally nail it at home waters, even more special. I'm super stoked. I think tonight is going to slowly sink in a little bit more, maybe tomorrow. Gonna celebrate it big tonight. I'm looking forward to that.
That's it for now, but next time we begin our countdown to the 2024 Olympics, and Barcelona hosts the Rolex 52 Super Series World Championships.